So in this video, I'm going to talk about why your first book is usually not your best and also the one you care most about. And that's what makes it so hard to finish. I learned this lesson after many years of struggling with my first novel, which was this huge project that I was very passionate about, very excited about. I had to learn everything about writing. When I was like 20, and I called up some agents, or I emailed some agents, and I had some literary agents call me back because they were interested in the topic of the book, which was a great success, but I hadn't actually finished the book. It wasn't going so well. I was actually never able to complete the story. And part of what I learned was that it was my first book and I didn't know what I was doing. And that's what happens no matter what thing you're trying to do for the first time. It's hard to get good at something. The first time you do something is all basically failure. Like you try and you fail and you try and you fail. You figure out what isn't working, you go and study, you learn how to fix it, you get better. That's a long process. The process of your first book, like what's probably going to happen when you write your first book, is that you're going to have all these different scenes and all these different characters and all this different stuff that you've been working on for years and have no idea how to put it together. It's very difficult to edit a book that's made up of all these different sections that's been developed over 5 years, which is why most authors stagnate with their first book and are never able to make it come together. But it's also because it's your first book, it's the one you care about, that you're really passionate about, and your expectations are really high. You think it's going to be awesome. There's a disparity between your ability as a writer, because writing is a skill and you have to learn how to do it, and the thing that you want to create, which will probably take 1,000 hours of work and study and practice. And it's very difficult for you to get through a rough draft that's really bad and not hate yourself because you wrote it so poorly. But that's inevitable for any writers, even successful traditional authors who have written 20 books. You still have to get through a bad rough draft. You have to do it. You have to be okay with writing a bad rough draft to just push through and put that content down before you can have anything, because you can't edit something that's not there yet. You've got to write what happens before you go through and make it better and tell the story better. The other issue with the first book, I thought this was really interesting. I was talking with a literary agent and they said something like, if you're pitching agents or publishers and they look at your biography and your biography is too closely aligned with the book, like you're a chef who had cancer and then your husband died in a hiking accident. If that's your story and your book, the character is a chef who has, does all the same things, they're going to look at that and say, that's not a career author one, because they don't want to sign one book. They want to sign an author who's going to produce more books. And also they know you're really just kind of trying to write your story, your memoir. Often you're kind of unloading your plate, or you're complaining, or it's almost like therapy. You're going through and reliving all this stuff you wanted to say to people. You want to tell your story. So they know it's really about you, and you're writing a book for yourself. And it's more about self-help and personal growth than it is about creating a product. So it's a warning signal for agents and publishers. But I also think part of that is because it's the book that you care a lot about. You're not thinking about the audience or the market or satisfying readers. You're just thinking about telling your story. I strongly recommend to authors who are stuck with a book that seems like they're not making any progress with, you need to find a book that you don't care so much about, that you can use as practice. I hear a lot of people say, like, they want to write fantasy, and they say, I could never write paranormal romance because I hate it, or it's totally different. You can write in it, like, genre is not really about writing style, it's all about scenes and characteristics and motive. So you can take your writing style, you can take your life and the things that you like, and you can take any genre and learn the things that have to go in that genre, and then tell a unique and interesting story through your perspective that's also in sync with the genre. You can do that as practice. It'll teach you a great deal about being a professional writer. I don't believe you have the right to say, it's fine if you say that genre doesn't interest me, I don't enjoy that genre, I'm not interested in reading or writing that genre. I appreciate that, I get that. But basically, you're still writing books that you like, that you want to write. You're still writing for yourself. If you want to train yourself to be a career author who can write books that sell really well, it's easier to do that if you choose some other genre you don't really care about. Maybe you're a little interested in, but it's not your thing. Because when you can do another genre like that, and you get rid of all of those ideas and beliefs about your own interest, your own passion, and you just learn the basic skill of writing. I'm going to take this genre, I'm going to say, these are the things that readers expect in this genre. I'm going to use my skill as a writer and practice writing a book in that genre. It also means you can put a pen name on it. You don't have to care about the end result. You can just finish a story, and I recommend writing a short story. Write 10,000 words or 20,000 words, which you can finish in a couple weeks and publish in a month, and you've finished your first book, you've published it, you have a great wealth of experience and newfound confidence and skills that when you go back to your main thing or your main genre or the thing you care more about, you'll be so much more capable of getting that done and doing it well because you've let yourself write other things that you don't care so much about. It's a great tip and practice. A lot of writers, they'll do similar things, but they'll do writing prompts. So they'll write 1,000 words or 2,000 words. Don't do 20 of those. Write a 20,000 word novel, a novella, a very short story, something that's different from what you normally do. Make it fun, but make it an exercise. I'm going to try to build a product that satisfies this genre and see if I can do it. Because that's different from, I want to, learn the art of writing so I can satisfy myself and tell my own story. So don't let that first book, the one you care most about, be your passion project that kills your career. Because a lot of authors, they'll spend 10 years writing that book and another 5 years publishing that book and trying to market that book. And that first book they wrote for themselves, they didn't write for other people, it's probably not going to be a successful product. It's probably not going to sell a lot of copies. Even if they get a publishing deal, even if they get an advance, it probably isn't going to be their most successful books. Most first books aren't successful books. It's usually the fifth book that writers are like, okay, I've written some stuff that I like. Now I have an audience. Now I want to write for my audience. I want to write something that they enjoy. And a lot of authors, when they get past the art creative part of it and they start thinking, oh wow, it's nice to earn some money. I like these royalty checks. I'd like to do more of that. I make this much a month. I'd like to make more every month. When you start getting that mind frame and thinking about writing books to make money, it's much easier to focus on building a product that's going to sell. In the beginning, most writers just shut their ears and they're like, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to sell out, and I'm never going to use my writing to make products that sell, which is unfortunate because those same authors hire me or someone else to try to market their books for them later, and they spend a lot of money trying to force other people to read those books that they wrote when they're not willing to just write books that people like. And I think that's a weird state of affairs in publishing. There are, however, extremely successful writers who are comfortable and understand that you can write what people like and still make an amazing book that you are proud of. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not selling out. It's not being a hack. Anyway, so it's just something to think about. If this is your first book, get it out there if you're close, but also be prepared to write some other books. If you're self-publishing, you need at least two, because you need one short one that you can use as a lead loss that you can put on Amazon for free or 99 cents to funnel people back to your email list to get them to sign up for your main one. And you know, like for my instead of writing one book, I'm going to write this 21-day best-selling author platform. Instead of writing that as one book, I'm going to write 21 little ebooks, because that broadens my net. Basically, it widens my net so that it's going to be easier to find people to come back and get free stuff from me so we can build a relationship. You need to be thinking about those kind of things. You're going to be needing more than one book. Most successful self-publishing authors don't start making real money until they have 10 books. So it's something to keep in mind. Don't spend all of your energy and time and money trying to make this one book successful. Focus on writing some more books, because more books is the easy way to sell your main book. I'm going to talk a little bit about, if you are going to hire an editor, what does that look like? I'm also going to talk a little bit about self-editing, which is kind of the point of this video course, but there are also some resources down below, because self-editing is huge. There are a lot of things you've got to learn, so it's not something I can do quickly in a video. But I will talk a little bit more about it. There's a few more videos to watch